Great good morning. My name is Ishi Andrew. Like they usually say, thank God it's Friday. Well, thank God for every other day, but then the weekend is upon us and we understand why you're excited. This morning we'll get into our conversation on the morning crossfire, and it has a lot to do with a particular issue that has come up in most recent times, especially with some bills that is currently on the floor of the House and the stipulations within those bills. There are people who already are beginning to say we are not going to stand and take it. You cannot elongate the terms of the council chairman, etc., etc., etc. But our conversation and the focus of it is not going to be on that bill or that direction, but it's going to be something that's even more holistic. For some time now, there are those who feel that the purpose of creating that local government arm has not been effective. The purpose has not been met, and hence there are those who believe, should we even continue with it? Well, my guest this morning is one of such individuals who think that the local government system, it's not yielding results and should be looked into, even changed or scrapped, removed, whichever word that suits you. I quickly like to introduce His Royal Highness Eze Dr. Ken Nwala, Ugo one of Etche land, the Onye, Ishi, Agwuru III, Ulakwo, Umuselem Kingdom. Your Highness, I hope I got it right.
You tried, Femi. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, get on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH as always, and join in on the conversation. We're streaming live, so that means you can watch and listen to us at the same time. Drop your comments real time, and importantly, do well to share the stream. The question we'll be asking you online is whether you would support a call for the traditional institution to replace the local government system. My guests seem to think that that could work. But before we even talk about the traditional institution replacing the local government system, my first question to you, Your Highness, would be what is the problem with the local government system that makes you feel that it is not meeting its desired purpose?
Thank you, Ifemi. First of all, we in this country, let me stop in this country, otherwise it's a problem of Africa. We have been living on borrowed everything, copied everything. Before the coming of the white man, we had a government that was African, that was working for Africans. Our great-grandfathers didn't know the white man, but they were able to govern themselves. And they governed it to the roots, which is our communities. The question we should be asking now is that what was wrong with that pattern and that type of government? Where 100 people would sit to listen to a matter and decide. Or where one person would sit over 100 people and decide. So, first of all, we copied. I wasn't born when the parliamentary system was there, but I heard
we copied that.
We copied that along the line. Maybe practice after how many years? 2, 3, 4, 7 years. Scrapped, and we tried to copy the presidential system, which you can also. Everybody agrees that is not working. From the onset of selection to the people that are seemingly selected, it's not working. There's no governance in grassroots. Absolutely. Otherwise, the federal government has no business in the states. Neither does the state have any business in the localities. But is that the case now? Yes, it's no.
Is that not supposed to be a problem more on the person involved?
No.
The people occupying the positions as against the system itself? Because it's clearly stated, like you said, we have the laws, We have everybody, you know your boundaries. It is clearly there. But then it seems as though individuals who occupy these positions, whether at the federal or state, find a way to navigate themselves around these things and bend corners to influence and extend their powers beyond their boundaries. So should we blame the system instead of the individuals who run the system?
That's what I said. First of all, everything we are doing is imitation. It is not original. And when you use systems that are imitated, you're bound to make mistakes. This is not African. Whatever we are copying, call it presidential, call it parliamentary, is not original.
What would be African?
What is original is the traditional system of government. That is the way our people were governed. And we were governed adequately and peacefully in that way. Now, tell me, we have a president whose powers course across to the localities. I'm not sure the president of Nigeria today knows my local government. Maybe, of course, you know they are 774, right? How will he cram all that? Maybe he might know his local government and some other local government in his area. So what is his business in my local government? The state governor, yes, we are 23 here. He might attempt to know the local government. But what is his business in my local government? Since when there is a government in the locality. So for me, and I have advocated this everywhere, even in our council, that, okay, now we have what they call, is it community court or what they call that now? The courts in the locality. It's being run by lawyers. And most of the cases they educate on are traditional issues.
So you would expect that you have traditional leaders running those?
Of course, but they are traditional matters.
But doesn't the council have members of its council who adjudicate over these matters?
We do.
All right.
But when we finish, for instance, those matters still go back to the, I call them the foreign courts, because we borrowed them. They still go back to them. And whatever they decide there becomes the law or whatever it is. So we are saying, or I am saying, that traditional government, call it traditional government, call it council government, call it local government, call it anything, are supposed to be managed by the owners of those areas. Now, a situation where you have a local government that may not even go enter the local government where he rules for a month, is that how do you
that's exactly the point I'm making. Is that attitude is not because the local government, the laws.
So who is checking them?
Hold up. It's not because the local government laws supports that the council chairman should not visit. It's almost like even for the senators, you're supposed to have constituency projects, constituency office. These things are provided for, but the people who occupy that place don't do these things.
Why are they not doing it?
So is it that your grouse with the fact that these people are not doing what they ought to do, or the fact that you think the whole system should not be even looked at because it's not our own?
First of all, I've said it. You cannot build any strong building in a wrong foundation. We are building in a wrong foundation. You are working here. You were supposed to start work by maybe 8 o'clock. You're sure you're here by 7:30 or 7:45, so that you would not be, because if you're not here, there's penalty. There's something you will suffer for not doing your work.
Exactly.
What is our politicians suffering? Tell me.
It brings us to the same question I'm asking.
Which is
the people in position of power not doing what they ought to do?
Yeah, because nobody is checking them.
You do, okay, Your Highness. You don't think that if we have the traditional institution, would have the same problems?
How?
Because even as it stands now,
yes,
at the small space where the traditional institution still operates and is recognized, there are people who still poke their activities and talk about how chiefs and traditional leaders are involved in one form of issue or the other and take sides and are political and all of these things. So if we even have this traditional institution, what is the guarantee that we are still going to have a system that will be devoid of these things and behaviors we are seeing now with politicians?
The reason is simple. Let's go back to the Bible. Our Lord Jesus Christ, we are told, has 12 disciples. One derailed, right? It's not true.
True.
11 were good. Imagine that he had only Judas as his disciple. What will have happened? That's what we are saying. Way more people. That's why I hear them talk about parliamentary. Why are they talking about parliamentary now? These are things we have been talking about for ages. You cannot mortgage your entire life in the hands of one man. Call him the president, call him the governor, call him the local government chairman, and the checks and balances are not there. The reason is that because we copied it, and we are not copying. Okay, look at Nigeria now. We are copying. We are governed by another country, and we are copying another country. Doesn't tell you that something is wrong? The way we are practicing democracy in Nigeria, is it the way it's practiced in America? Is it the way it's practiced in the UK?
Is that a function of us having the wrong democracy, or the people who are...
Because we copied what we are not. Because we copied who we are not. Interestingly, I am part of the AU committee on going back to our roots.
Okay.
I am part of it. I work on. I'm part of membership of that committee. We are advocating that Africa should go back to our roots. We are getting it wrong. The whole of Africa, like I said, it's not about Nigeria. It's not about this country alone. Check what is happening in the whole continent. You see that we are copying who we are not. And when you copy, what do you get? Is it that you're copying it wholeheartedly, or you're copying it in piecemeal, the way we are doing?
Isn't it possible to copy something that is good and it works for you? I mean, there are many things that we're also copying that's working for us. We copy technology. It's not ours. We're copying a lot of other
Who said
things.
technology is not ours?
It's technology ours.
Where did the civilization start in?
Civilization or not?
What
Civilization could have started from Africa.
Yes.
But then the technology we use now.
Yes.
I don't think
it evolves.
Highness, I don't think you can, exactly. But
it evolves.
We seem not to be part of the evolution.
Who told you we are not part of it?
Have we produced?
Where is the raw material coming from?
Have we produced? We have the raw materials.
Why do you think the world is dependent on Africa?
Your Highness, we have the raw materials does not mean we invented the technology, if you would agree. So my question now is, there are many other things that if something is good and you copy well, does it not also mean that, okay, this is a good thing, we can do it or imbibe it as long as it works with us and we can use it? So my question still goes to, in this situation, from what you're saying, which makes a lot of sense, to think that, okay, we have something from our roots that we should go back to that could help.
Yes.
Isn't it also possible that what we copied is not really wrong, but how we are using it?
That's what I'm saying. If I come here and see you doing the right thing, it doesn't mean that you're not also doing wrong things. Right? For instance, I'll give you just one typical example. In Africa, we believe in polygamy. Right? It worked for our great-grandfathers. But the white man doesn't believe in it. We are trying to copy it. Is it working for us? The answer is no. You're here. You're working here now because somebody is paying your salary somewhere. Does our politicians believe that it is we, the people, that are keeping them in the office? Doesn't that brings us to the people in charge? What I'm trying to say is that no, it's not the people in charge. People behave the way they behave because nobody is stopping them from behaving the way they behave. There are no laws. For instance, I am a traditional ruler. There are things that are taboos, abominations for me to even think of. I can't even go through it because I know that if I ever venture into those activities, the gods of the land will come after me. I won't even think about it. Now, tell me, which politician is afraid of our laws in Nigeria? If you commit crime now, you go to jail. Very well. Do they go to jail when they commit crimes?
But how would you explain? Okay, let's look at the traditional system now, because you just cited something that's interesting.
Yes.
So you've highlighted what you think is the flaws with the copied system. Now, for the traditional system, you've said something. For instance, there are certain things you can't do because you know the
laws are there. They are natural laws. Yes.
But if we even take that and put it in perspective, some people who commit crime still go to these gods, natural gods and laws to get empowered to commit some of the crimes. We've seen most of them and their videos. We've seen those that even take oath, we will not do it again in communities when they have amnesties. They still go and do all of those things. We've had communities who had to come out and rededicate their lands to their ancestors and do all of those oaths and everything just to make sure that the crime that was on the rise stopped. And then people said we are surrendering, and then eventually it still gets worse. Nothing changes.
No, a lot changes except the way you're looking at it.
All right, just hold this thought. We have a short commercial. Okay. So when we come back, you just respond to it and we put out some more questions. Stay with us.
You are tuned in to
Nigeria Info.
It's been very interesting while we were on commercial, myself and His Highness here in the studio, exchanging ideas and trying to look at why this should stand and this should not. If you've been following the conversation, you should have already known that, yes, we are extraying the system of government that we run, especially at the local level. His Highness is basically looking at everything all over Africa, but we're trying to keep it focused so that we have a direct conversation. The traditional institution, should it replace the local government system? For my guest, Africa has lost its identity. We are copying too much, and what we're copying is not who we are. We need to sit down and come up with our own and use our own. It's the only way, and for him that he thinks we can get over the obstacles that are in front of us. His Royal Highness is a Dr. Ken Nwala is my guest. Go on Facebook and let us get your thoughts and your response to the question we have there. Would you support a call for the traditional institution to replace the local government system? Let us know. Nigeria Info 92.3 PH is the handle on Facebook. We've been looking at the lapses in the copied system, in quote, that we currently operate, the presidential system. We have the federal, state and local governments. And then local government, the talk is that it's a complete, total failure. That's his opinion. Complete failure for what it stood for is not what it's representing. And I was trying to get my Highness to also see, is it that the system does not have what the laws required for it, or is it that it is the people in the system that are refusing to do what they need to do, and so everybody suffers for it? Well, my guest thinks otherwise. The traditional system, we're also trying to highlight certain flaws that people would point out in it. And that was the question I asked you before we went on the break. And you said, no, that it works. Because I remember very well when we had some insecurity issues, we even got to a point where communities started coming to, call on the gods of the land.
Complain,
to come in, and anybody that does this killing again will die, and blah, 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 blah. But if we look at it even till now, the killings are still ongoing in several communities in Rivers State. So then people would also question, okay, how effective is this traditional way that you are saying we should begin to look at and go back to? There are also reports and rumors of how politicians still consult these traditional deities and use whatever means they get from there to even undo and even make the copied system worse because of how they choose to carry out the laws. So how are we sure that that traditional system would be very effective?
See, what I'm trying to say, or what I have said, or what I will continue to say, is that when you look at two problems, there's what our people say, one is manageable and this one is worse. My opinion is that the system as we have it today is worse because nobody is checking anybody. I have said it that a situation where more people are taking a decision over one matter, for me, is better than one person is taking a decision over so many matters. First of all, they are choked. Have you gone to the courts, for instance? You see one judge is handling 400 cases. One person. How would that person be effective? Not just that. Look at the people that are supposed to check whoever in the presidential system. Are they checking it? Look at the Nigerian Senate. Look at the House of Representatives. Look at all the stories we are hearing. Pardon this, that, all those kind of stories. Are those things that we are supposed to be hearing? Who is checking the president? So, we every Nigerian know. I don't know. It is the silence of the majority that has made this minute minority to continue to commit what they are committing in this country.
In the traditional system, who would check who and how would it work?
That's what I'm saying. We have a council of chiefs. The king cannot take any decision without agreeing with his council. That is where you see people who will say, no, this thing is not right. Like when we go to Agwuru on matters, there's what we call a jury. You know, the American people do it. When we finish that matter, jury will sit, and the jury is that council will sit, and everybody will air his or his view on those matters before a decision is taken. Here, one man takes a decision without even consulting anybody.
That's what I'm saying. Is it because the law does not provide for the man to consult everybody? For instance, we're supposed
It's
to
because that the
supposed to
system-
have public hearing.
Yeah, okay, because the system we are operating is ineffective. If a system, like I told you when offline, if the president of America commits something as little as
Driving against traffic.
yes, traffic laws, what happens to him? The system will deal with him. Is it not true? Okay, who are you to stop a a councillor from driving against traffic in Nigeria? I'm talking about a councillor, the least elected person in the system. So who is punishing who? So it is for us, the owners of this country, the owners of the continent, to say no. It is time for us to go back to our root. If there are things like you're saying, I'm saying that if you put two of them,
You are saying
side
both
by
of them
side.
have their lapses.
Of
but
course.
You think this one has more lapses
of
compared to
course,
the other?
the one we copied have 80% lapses. Why the one that is our own, the original one, has 20 or 30%
So how
lapses?
did we come about losing the one that is ours? Is it not the same politics that we're complaining of now in the one we borrowed that has caused us to get to where we are? Not because we do not have the laws, not because the one we copied doesn't provide for the punishments and the checks and the balances, because it does, but then the people who are in the positions to implement and execute these things don't execute them or do it favorably.
Why will
Is
you?
that not the same situation we had in the traditional institutions
If
before
any-
the coming of the Western man?
Ifeyimi, why
led
will
to us
you?
losing
Why
it.
will you mortgage all yourself to one man? That's the question I keep asking. For instance, let's talk about the issue of development in the local areas. We're supposed to have a local government.
Yes.
That's his primary responsibility is to secure and develop that locality. Is that what we have today? Now, I am forced as a traditional ruler. I wish Etche people will call and tell you what I'm talking about. I'm forced as a traditional ruler to even find way of developing my own domain. We build schools on our own. We build primary health centers on our own. The thing we cannot build is road. We virtually do everything for ourselves. We even provide our own security. As we speak now, I'm prosecuting criminals that government are supposed to be doing. We are fighting all kinds of battles that the government have been mandated and their responsibility to do.
So this you are highlighting now in Etche, for instance.
Yes.
Is it because the system does not provide the avenues to tackle these problems, or because whoever occupies that position is not doing what they ought to do as provided by the system?
What I'm saying is that if the system is strong enough,
It will force the individual.
Correct. Get that one. Get it right. It will force the individual to do what is not doing. But if the system is comatose, or if the system is relaxed, everybody will behave the way they want to behave, and that is what is going on today. And we're saying that the traditional institution can never go comatose because it is the people. Now imagine me, I'm giving money to build a school for my village people or for my community, and I embezzle the money. Where will I be? Where will I live? Where will I stay? But we have accepted here that some local
But we
government.
still have these problems even now, where companies that reside in communities and do their businesses there, host communities, and monies that are brought out, and then we still hear stories of how the traditional rulers, chiefs, and all of them who are in those communities are involved in how they shared things are not shared adequately, trust funds are not used adequately. In Etche, for instance, we even hear problems of some chiefs involved in land grabbing issues. Is it not just the same thing over again?
No. Don't get it right. We are talking about a system of government.
Exactly. So
A system of government that will be pro people.
These traditional leaders belong to a traditional system by nature, isn't it?
Yes.
So it means that traditional system, even though overall they now belong to, when we look at a larger picture, the adopted system, if I would use your language, they already naturally belong to a traditional system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they falter, why doesn't this traditional system force them or prevent them from doing what is not in favor of their people?
Are you aware that we don't have any role in the Nigerian constitution? Seemingly, we are even the owners of the land. We don't have any role, no particular role, apart from advisory. See, but these ones that have roles that are being enshrined in the constitution is not even taking it on them. That's what we are saying. So it's easier to somebody who does not belong to anywhere to commit a crime and run away than somebody who belongs to that and is committing the crime brazenly and nothing is happening to the person. That's what we are saying. And it's because we copied who is not who we are not. And we are using it, to intimidate people. Tell me, how can one man be governing 100 people and everything he does, everybody is keeping quiet? Like I said, it is the silence of the majority that's making the minute minority to do what they are doing. Any day Nigeria rises up, Africa rises up, some of this rubbish we are getting now, we will not get them again. The system is I won't use the word corrupt. The system has collapsed.
But do you think people will still respect the traditional institution?
Don't they respect us now?
I wouldn't know. Perhaps the
No. Ask them. They respect me. My people respect me.
That could
Why?
be
Because
you.
no.
But I'm talking.
They respect us.
I'm talking
because most traditional rulers are transparent.
Don't you think that people think the traditional system has been corrupt and it doesn't stand for what it used to stand for? I mean, people that emerge to be kings and chiefs, some of them have very questionable characters, and people are watching. They are seeing how they are welcomed into the fold regardless of these things. Does that not dent the image?
We said something here. I said in every 100. Okay, the other people say in every 12 you find one Judas. It doesn't make the other 11. Of course, we'll always find one or two bad eggs, even in the police, everywhere. But it doesn't make the Nigerian police corrupt, totally corrupt. Does it?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. So what I'm saying, that compare it with what we're already practicing. Can you compare 20 to 100 to 80 or 80 to 20? That's what we are saying. There's nowhere. But if these things are sanitized, if the government is giving, what we are saying is that the government should be giving back. After all, you people say democracy is government of the people, for the people and by the people. Is that what we are practicing in Nigeria?
But some of
is it government of the people?
But some of the people who are in the government came from a traditional institution. There are some people who were former governors, former heads of states, some people who are chiefs. In fact, from the political system that they are in the adopted system, they become chiefs and are honored, given all the honors and all the titles and everything.
Let me tell you, I have a friend. He works in Abuja. He's one big man in Abuja. He came from overseas. When he came to work in Nigeria, he was invited to come and work in one of the offices in Nigeria. One day they gave him something he never worked for, he never expected. He was like, "What's this?" He said, "No, it's your share." I said, "Which share? I didn't do anything." He said, "You better take it or you leave, or you go back to where you're coming from." So what I'm trying to say is that it's either, how do they say, it's either you join them, Obi, or you do what?
If you can't beat them,
you join them. That's what's happening. There are a lot of people who are like me, who want the right things done. I'm sure you want the right thing done for this country. I'm sure we want to live a better country for our children. I know we want to do things right. Look at, I just came back from Sweden in January. They are closing prisons because there are no inmates. They are selling their prisons for businesses. Why in Nigeria we are looking for money to build prisons? If you go to some of our prisons, if it's supposed to take 100 inmates, they are taking over 1,000. I will not ask that, what is going on? Why are people going into crime? It's because we are running a failed system. You can't do that in a traditional place. Like you said, all of them come to consult us to guide them for whatever fetish things they want to do. Now, the same thing will have happened. I don't know if they told you what happened before the colonial masters came, how criminals were being dealt with.
But of course,
if a man steals a goat in the community, he is carried around the community. It's a shameful thing that that you wouldn't want to think about again. It also gets into your family. You understand? Today, we will see people brazenly thief. I don't like using the word called. They steal, they thief what belongs to everybody, and nobody says anything. The worst part is that people so enrich themselves stupidly that they even take what they don't need. You have children, I have children. Now, if I have provided everything my 10th generation will need, what would those children be? Stupid, foolish people, because they don't need to work. The greatest asset you give to any child or any generation is education. Is that what we are giving? Go to our local schools. They are leaking. Some children are sitting on the floor to go to school. No.
And you think if we operate the traditional system, those things will be fixed?
The chief will go there now. The king will go there now. Don't forget we are living there. It's not like these guys who live somewhere that is already made. Some of them, when they finish their tenures now, they will run to America, where it's already made. Don't forget that it is people's blood. It is people's strength. It is people's everything they use in building those
But
beautiful societies.
Your Highness, from all you've said, it doesn't it also imply for what we're saying that it is the personality of the people as against a system? It is not the people that makes a system work. We'll come to this. Okay. Let's open the phone lines.
Is that right?
0817 923 0002 0817 923 0003 and 0817 923 0007. Prayer says it's Nigerians who we have in the local government councils. Wouldn't it be Nigerians we would have in any traditional government council? A people's government is a reflection of the society. Since the proposed traditional government would not have people from Spain, would there be any difference? That's the question. This one says, good morning, Ifeemi. Traditional systems strip power from the people. Democracy brought that power back and we are abusing it now. The people are the gods. The poor in Nigeria is more corrupt than the elite. When our conscience come back alive, Nigeria will be great again. For now, we are all complicit. Jeremiah sent that one in. Andy Mayo says, good morning to His Highness. We've heard of tyrant traditional leaders in Africa who checkmated those traditional rulers who falsely took people's wives and land. It was here in Africa where the killing of twins and their mothers took place before foreigners came and corrected the abnormality. Human beings were sacrificed to gods. Those were the dark days. And
thank God he said it was the dark days.
The messages will go on and on. This one says, I greet His Highness in the studio. My name is Nwala Promise. I completely disagree with you. It's not a system thing, but an individual problem. If the system is fully followed religiously, where the three arms of government work independently, things will flow accordingly. But the checks and balances provided in the constitution is not maintained or followed. If we go by traditional system, you will agree with me that corruption will be on the higher side. Check where individuals who are not qualified for chieftaincy titles are crowned based on how much they will donate. Let's make our system a strong institution and everything will work perfectly. Nwala Promise, that's you. All right, let's go to Eneka. Godwin is on the line.
All right.
Godwin, let's hear you. Good morning. You need your headphones. Hello, Godwin. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Now, I've been listening to what you have been saying. Well, truly, I believe.
Godwin, please turn down the volume of your radio before you continue, or you walk away from that place completely.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Go ahead. I can still hear the radio in the background. Just turn it off. It's just off it.
Gone out. Can you hear it now?
We can still hear the radio in the background. We might have to let you go and move on to another caller. Turn off the radio. It's just that simple. Let's go over to Temple in my one park. Please, before you call, completely turn down the volume of your radio or turn it off. After the conversation, you can turn it back on. Temple, good morning. Go on.
Good morning, the very distinguished Ifeemi, and I salute you once again.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Israel Ezekiel Sachikaramo.
Uncle.
Ibonya Mama.
The
very distinguished Ifeemi, Andrew. To be honest to you this morning, talking about the support for the traditional institution replacing the local government, that will be the worst thing that will happen to us, even at the local government level. All we should be calling now is balance of power. That synergy between the traditional institution and the local government aspect of administration, that is that of the grassroots of the people, that is closer to the people. The very distinguishing thing, Andrew, if I may tell you, even within the confines of the traditional institution, the level of corruption that is going on. Sometimes you have a case, it takes the eye of the camera going to the eye of a needle for you to win a case that should be in your favor. It takes you to pay a huge sums of money for you to win a case that should be in your favor. For me, I want to appeal to our chief. Even here, ask my chief, why is it that whenever we hold on to something, even as an individual or as a chief, it is difficult for us to release it? Today, Etche is of 6 clans. We have Ulakwo, we have Umuselem clan. But today it has been divided into 2. But we still asking the head of Ulakwo Umuselem clan instead of the head of Umuselem, and believe the other part. So the head and the charge of the Umuselem clan.
All right, Temple, your point has been made.
So that synergy is not there. The level of it is too much.
Okay.
That is the problem.
Thank you. Letan Barry from Bori, good morning.
Good morning, Ishi and Andrew.
You're welcome,
Good
Little
morning
Barry.
to your
Go
guest.
ahead.
Yes. For me, I would disagree with the Highness with allowing the traditional institution to take over the local government administration. Let me just make one point on the issue of the idea of the colonial masters. If you me, I want to ask, these colonial masters were saying they gave us a borrowed, it was a borrowed idea and all that. And these people are using it in their own vicinity, in their own country, and they are doing it well. And the idea given to us here, instead of we following it properly, we are saying they gave us a wrong idea. If you hear me, why is it that we are not using it the way the people who brought the idea are using it? And instead we are condemning it that it is a borrowed idea and that idea was not by the traditional institution, so it cannot work. Why will it be so? Why will we begin to sentiment to that level that idea does not work? Whereas the people in their place is effective and is working just like he said in Sweden, that they are looking for way to sell out the prison system. Why in Nigeria we are looking for more ways to even open more prisons? Why is it that their own is working and ours are not working? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Little Barry. Zion from GRA. Good morning.
The problem is attached to the 1999 Constitution. And I blame the paramount rulers as per then in Nigeria who saw that document, but they kept quiet. You know why they kept quiet? They were so lazy. They were so hungry. And all they're looking for then was for food to feed. Let's be honest. Then we have traditional stew being appointed by the gods.
Hello, Zion. Zion, can you hear us? All right, I think we have to go to Ajib now. Promise is on the line. For some reason, Zion seemed to be already disconnected. Hello, Promise. Good morning.
Andrew, good morning.
Welcome.
Fairness, I greet you.
I greet you too.
Chikam.
Kanko.
Chikam.
Kanko.
Magikwa. I completely disagree with His Highness in the studio. Going to traditional system of system will be the worst we can ever think of. With due respect, His Highness, I want to ask, the stipend that is given to the traditional institution to be distributed, is it distributed evenly? Is it distributed in accordance? That's number one. The chieftaincy titles given to some individuals, especially personalities, is it given by merit? That is number two. Then we talk about number three. If you, as a king, dispenses judgment in accordance, does it happen in other palaces? Let's say, for example, in Etche, where you and I come from. The answer is no. In most palaces, you see where the highest bidder takes it all, and they will write judgment and give to you, and you move on to another stage. So the traditional institution is even more corrupt than what we are talking of. What we need to do in Nigeria is to build a strong institution that will checkmate the system we have in place, and everything will move perfectly. Thank you.
All right, Promise. Thank you very much. We'll see if we could take one more call before we go on the commercial. We have a short commercial on the way. After that commercial, we come back and get a response of His Highness to some of the issues that you have raised. This one here says, the effectiveness of the traditional system was guaranteed by the potency of deities, Amadioa, etc. will operate with thunder to impeach, overthrow any corrupt traditional rulers in communities. Okay, so are you suggesting that the deities aren't as effective as they used to be? George, you're next from Buguma. George, you have less than 2 minutes to make your point, so go ahead.
Yes, Andrew, good morning to you. Let me greet your studio guest. You see, Andrew, I completely agree with your studio guest this morning. You see, the Western system of education and government has really ruined our traditional aspect of in this part of the world. Because you see the staff of office that is given to traditional rulers is just to tie their hand behind the back because they don't do anything. Everything the government will be the one to do. At the end of the day, you see wrong in the system. Because compared to before, just like you guys said, most of the things that is happening, this land grabbing issues and all of that, you can't try it. You can't try when traditional system is properly invoked in this part of the world. You can't try it. That is why I am happy today you see the Islamic laws. Because with that law and that court, you can't do anyhow.
All right, George.
Anyhow.
George, thank you. We have your point. We'll go for a commercial now.
The show continues after this break. Nigeria Info. Welcome.
We're back. We have a few minutes to wrap things up this morning on the Morning Crossfire, and I would have to go back to my guest, His Royal Highness Dr. Ken Nwala, to respond to your questions and give us his final position on the matter.
Yes, the idea of this discourse is not for people to agree or disagree, but there are basic things that are, will I call it statutory or sacrosanct, that nobody can dispute. Every Nigerian knows that we are running a failed system, a system where there are no checks and balances. If we copy democracy and we are checking it and we are balancing it, we copied from UK. Did they relegate their traditional citizen? Who is the head of the parliament?
They didn't. They still kept the Queen and all of the other.
Correct. They still respect
alongside.
They can't take any major decision without reference. The queen or the king does not run the government. So what has happened to Nigeria? We had this system. That's what we're saying. So why did we now relegate us? Is it that there's nothing good that is coming from the traditional institution or traditional system? The people see the first, when they want to do election now, they will run with their whatever they bring with to come and seek our blessings and all that. And we give freely.
Why give if you know that this is out of place then?
Your children coming to seek blessings from their father, you won't give them. For what? Why we don't?
But you can also correct your children.
You advise them. Like I said, most of our roles are advisory. We have begged last dispensation during the Buhari time. We went in our council of chiefs.
Let me ask this question. Sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
but we don't really have time. I said this is very interesting. If a traditional ruler sees that this politician that is coming is corrupt, it's not good. You know it's antecedent. You know it's bad. You know. When he comes, can you not tell your people this one is not good? We don't want him. Don't vote for him. Can the traditional ruler say that?
Of course.
Has any said that?
We do that.
Has any said that?
I
publicly?
say we do that.
I've never heard.
No, okay, you listen, you hear. The truth is that we have a system that is corrupt. We have a system that is not working. And it is high time we should. It's included. Roles are given to us in the constitution. So the
work together side by side.
Yes. Yes. By giving the political system some roles and giving us some roles.
All right.
That way we can check each other.
All right, Your Highness, thank you very much for your time. We have to go down for the news at 9. My name is Ifeemi Andrew. Hello, Port Harcourt comes off afterwards.
It's 9 o'clock.